USC football finally gets its signature win. Meanwhile, UCLA continues to push nails out of its own coffin, and the Dodgers learn their National League Championship Series opponent. Good morning. I'm James, and this is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is October 12th, 2025. Sorry for the late update, folks. I was in church this morning because it's Sunday, the Lord's Day. And if you believe as I do, take a moment and thank Him for the blessings that you have in life. Like LA sports. And if you like being in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop an update. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, as you know, we have an expanded look at the scoreboard during football season and the Dodger playoff run. So we begin with USC 31, 15th ranked Michigan 13. Lincoln Riley gets his statement win. It's the biggest win that he's had since the Trojans beat the daylights out of Notre Dame in Riley's first year with Caleb Williams at quarterback. It's one that should lift the Trojans back to the top 25, and it definitely gets them back in the conversation for the college football playoff. Now, the defense absolutely took advantage of their bye week. We had talked about it. Danton Lynn said that they would do whatever it took, return to fundamentals, basic tackling, how to fight off blocks, all those sort of things. And that was a damn good call. That was a damn good call. Because do you recall last season, the Wolverines welcomed SC into the Big Ten by punching them right in the mouth. Highly unpleasant. Michigan rushed for 298 yards that day. What happened Saturday? The Wolverines only got 109. So that's an improvement. And the Trojans also sacked Michigan quarterbacks 3 times. Meanwhile, Jaden Mayava, he passes for 265 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Trojans once again put up 500 plus yards in total offense. Walk-on running back King Miller, a walk-on, rushed for 158 yards and a touchdown. He replaced the injured Wayman Jordan. We're going to talk more about him and the Trojans running game in just a moment. Now, we always try to admit when we're wrong here at Faithful Angelenos. We don't just go with our ego and ignore our mistakes. I anticipated that USC would need tackle Elijah Page because facing the Wolverines front with 2 starting offensive linemen out would be a problem. I missed that one. I totally did. Page didn't play. USC was still the far more physical team. All those years with Riley at the helm, and we're sitting there going, when is USC going to play like they're going to hit people back? They absolutely did. Absolutely. They rushed for 224 yards as a team. The Trojans played with urgency and focus. And by the way, they had no choice. They had no choice. Imagine what would have happened if they had lost that game. The heat on Riley, double it. This idea that they'll never be able to be tough enough in the Big Ten, that rep would get amplified even more. Turn that up to 11 like Spinal Tap. Now, the theory for the Trojans, and for that matter, the Wolverines. You can still have 2 losses in the Big Ten and slide into the college football playoffs. Had the Trojans lost, that would have been L number 2 with games at Notre Dame and at Oregon upcoming. So they knew how much this mattered in the big scheme of things. They left nothing to chance. And what is the result, you ask? Well, for all the grief that Riley had to face over the last 2 weeks after what happened in Illinois, multiple media outlets now see in their computer models USC being a playoff team. Now, it's not a fait accompli, but look at the resume right now. They're 5-1. Their only loss was a buzzer-beating field goal on the road, guys. Now, as for Jordan, He's expected to miss the Notre Dame game and a couple of games more. He has an ankle injury. So you're sitting there going, well, wait a second. King Miller is the primary backup? No, he's not. And that's where the news gets even worse for the Trojans. Primary backup Eli Sanders was also injured. Riley said Sanders needs further evaluation, but he fears his season is over. So, terrific win for the Trojans. Still, it's not a fait accompli that they'll get in. It's just a big statement win. So celebrate what you got. Speaking of celebrating, UCLA absolutely should be dancing. UCLA should be dancing on that plane flight back home until everybody thinks it's turbulence. They beat the living hell out of Michigan State 38-13. And so we take a step back there too. Because I don't know exactly how good UCLA football is. Do you? Before the season, I was like saying, okay, they get this great quarterback, Nico Iamaleava, and he's going to be the best player on the team. And that team last year was 5-7. You would think that he would get them into a bowl game, right? We can now presume the Bruins are not nearly as bad as that atrocious 0-4 start. All we know for certain is this. Interim coach Tim Skipper has his finger right on the pulse of UCLA. Whatever cliche you want to throw, knows what buttons to press, whatever, throw that out there, it applies. Because prior to boarding the team flight for Michigan, before the players and the other coaches went on, Skipper snuck on the plane and left a note on every seat on the plane. Are you a one-hit wonder? Translation. Are you going to take that terrific win against Penn State and just say, yep, we're good. We proved our point. We can take this game off. Great call. The gauntlet of challenge that Skipper gave them, the players absolutely embraced it. Now, the Spartans are not a terrible football team. UCLA tore them limb from limb. Way more physical on both fronts. The Bruins, again, before the season, I was saying, well, you know, you got Iamaleava in there. You don't necessarily know who you have at wide receiver. Why not have Iamaleava run the ball with the running back and try and create some mismatches in the running game? The Bruins rushed for 238 yards. A team that couldn't block and tackle as recently as 3 weeks ago. Now, all of a sudden, they are just chewing everybody up. The 238 yards rushing for the Bruins, Michigan State only had 253 total blocking and tackling. Skipper's gotten to do it. Iamaleava threw for 3 touchdowns. So, of course, the legend of interim offensive coordinator Jerry Neuheisel is growing. Don't be surprised if they start singing songs to him all across Westwood. Now, a few minutes ago, I mentioned how SC needed a win simply to avoid elimination from the college football playoff picture. UCLA is not going to the college football playoffs. We know that. But they still have a shot at bowl eligibility. And that brings us back to the original question. You can answer that for me. How good do you think UCLA football actually is? Because they have 6 games left. To be bowl eligible, they're going to need 4 more wins. But the schedule is not kind. They are going to be at 7th-ranked Indiana, at top-ranked Ohio State. And if USC returns to the rankings today, at a ranked Trojans team. Possibly 3 ranked teams on the road out of 6 remaining games. That is a huge ask. So I can't tell you that UCLA will go to a bowl game like I thought they would before the season started. But holy crap. Night and day from where they were 3 weeks ago. Feel free to pop your collar if you're a Bruins fan. Also, Winnipeg edged the Kings 3-2, Galaxy 2, FC Dallas 1. Gabriel Peck scores in the 87th minute. But I say this as a shot across the bow for the Galaxy front office. Even if the Galaxy win their season finale against Minnesota United, it's the worst season in franchise history. point-wise. You guys own that. And it damn sure ain't acceptable for the franchise, for the signature franchise of Major League Soccer. You need to do better. Meanwhile, today, the Rams are at Baltimore at 10 a.m. It should be as simple as this for the Rams. Stop the run, win the game. Baltimore is missing half their team, it seems like. Even Lamar Jackson out with an injury. They just traded their best pass rusher to the Chargers, but the Rams face a problem. They had a 49ers team that was even more ravaged with injuries a week prior, and the Rams embraced that by stepping on a rake in front of everybody. This is my issue with the Rams. We know that they're going to get to the playoffs. Just like we knew that the Dodgers were going to win the division despite that atrocious slump at the All-Star break, right? But the question for the Rams is, are you going to be a serious Super Bowl contender? There are teams that qualify for the playoffs in the NFL and you're like, yeah, you ain't going it. You ain't winning it. Stop. For the Rams to be a serious threat, they have to put their foot on the neck of a 1-4 team and stomp until you hear the crack. Straight up. The Rams have way too much talent to lose games like this one, but they also had too much talent to lose to the 49ers a week and a half ago. Now the Rams enter a little dinged. Rob Havenstein won't play, neither will linebacker Omar Speights, and that matters when it comes to stopping the run. The key today is to do whatever it takes to stop Derrick Henry. Late development, ESPN is reporting Tutu Atwell won't play today, but that's not going to tip the game in favor of the Ravens. This is all about whether or not the Rams are going to be serious. The Chargers are at Miami at 10 a.m., and I must confess I'm super tired of talking about injured Charger players. So much so that I'm going out of my way trying to find reasons for a bright side so that I can claim the Bolts are going to win. Miami is not a good football team. And yet I don't think the Chargers are going to win. I don't. Tua Tagovailoa doesn't lose a lot at home. He has a winning percentage in Miami of .750. Moreover, even though they don't have Tyreek Hill as a top offensive threat, to Miami's credit, they've adjusted their offense. Do you remember Darren Waller when he was just a monster with the Raiders and then all of a sudden, poof, disappeared? All of a sudden, he's unstoppable again. Now, the Chargers are down a starting linebacker, but I still think that they can cover him with Derwin James. But look who else is missing for the Bolts. Joe Alt, Trey Pipkins, late development, Quentin Johnston will not play today. So where is the upside for the Chargers? Now you can sit there and go, well, they can win by being the more disciplined team. That's Jim Harbaugh's MO. And Harbaugh's a way more respected coach than Pajama Boy over with the Dolphins. But then you're saying, wait a second. This is not a typical Jim Harbaugh team. The Bolts are leading the NFL in penalties since week 4. 24 flags. Then you're talking about a 10 a.m. start time. So you're telling me a Chargers team down to reserves across the offensive line and a third-string running back is going to be able to score enough to get the W. As if Hassan Haskins is going to light it up today. And by the way, as a side note, NFL media is reporting the Chargers are calling anyone to make a trade for a running back, whether it's a starter or a depth piece, which means Omari and Hampton's probably injured way more than we were originally led to believe. But that's just speculation. LAFC is at Austin at 4. Houston is at Angel City FC at 2. A loss today, and Angel City is eliminated from qualifying for the NWSL playoffs. We finally know who the Dodgers have to face to reach the World Series. Game 1 of the NLCS is going to be in Milwaukee at 5 p.m. Monday. The Brewers swept the season series of 6 games, but I got to address something that has gained way too much traction. Bob Nightingale, the eternally wrong Bob Nightingale of USA Today, is claiming Roki Sasaki, quote, looks like the second coming of Mariano Rivera. Okay, everybody, cut it out. We all agree the Dodger bullpen was trash this year. We all recognize the Dodgers moved starters to the bullpen for the playoffs to pick up the slack, and that Sasaki has been better in the postseason than Tanner Scott has been all year. But the Dodgers did not bring Sasaki in from Japan to get the final 3 outs. Shh, stop it, Bob. Stop it. They always say a broken clock is right twice a day. Bob Nightingale isn't even a broken clock. Now, what we can tell you, which is actually based on reality and not man crushes, is the Dodgers will add a pitcher to the NLCS roster because, of course, it's a best of 7. They might need the extra arm. This is according to Dave Roberts. The Orange County Register suggests that this means the Dodgers will bench either Hai-Seong Kim or Justin Dean, and the speculation is either Ben Kasparius or Andrew Heaney will get the call. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me if you're a USC or Bruins fan. How stoked are you after what happened Saturday? And if you enjoyed this update, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James, and we'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.